From Keenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, this is Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me like he always does after a Carolina football or basketball game, THI publisher Andrew Jones. Andrew, Carolina getting a big win over their rival NC State today in Keenan Stadium, 48-21. Really good performance from Carolina. We're going to focus on the offense first, though. AJ, that running game from UNC, Javonte Williams in particular, Michael Carter as well, was pretty dangerous today, and I think it reflects on the scoreboard as well.
You run the ball for 326 yards, you got to win, and you should win going away. This team is really good running the ball. A big part of the narrative the last few weeks has been pass protection issues, and that is a problem, and it flared up a couple of times today. But we don't give enough credit to the offensive line and how good this team is at run blocking. They open up holes every week that I could get through. Now, then when you've got Michael Carter and Javonte Williams running through them, that's how you run for 326 yards against an NC State team that's not awful against the run. Javonte was amazing. He ran everybody in his sight over, including Garrett Walston one time when he got into the end zone.
That was pretty fun.
He not only falls forward, but he runs with the kind of aggression you don't see very often. And he's got more than enough grace to blend with that makes him a very good college back. And if he continues doing this, he's a great college back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the last 3 games, he's run for 169, was it 119 last weekend, 160 today. I mean, he didn't run the ball in the fourth quarter. Got a bunch of touchdowns. He has a couple receiving. He has 38 and 41-yard receiving touchdowns this year where he was darted into the end zone. This guy's an amazing football player. He's got a really good line in front of him blocking. He's got wide receivers that block well. This was a really impressive performance. Not just for Michael Carter, very deceptively runs for 106 yards. Yeah, they're both on track to run for well over 1,000 yards in a shortened season. Last year, Carter got his 1,000th yard against Temple. And it was a big moment. He got it. I think it was on a touchdown.
I think it was.
And then you got the photos. You were down this, and all the offensive linemen. Polino was like the first one out there. Give him a big hug. Because the line wants to get 1,000-yard dudes, because that's a badge of honor for the blockers. Trust me. They're going to get 2 of them this year, and they're going to do it before they play with the finales in Miami. They're going to keep churning up yards. I really, really like how they used the passing game with the run game today. Sam going 5 for 5 in that first drive was big. You never want to say the passing game sets up the run game, but that just put State on alert. Kind of put them on their heels. Like Sam's on today. Emory Simmons is catching balls. They didn't even probably know who the heck he was going in. And then you've got Javonte and Michael. That was so impressive. God, Javonte's good.
He is, man. My favorite part about Javonte, too, is how he just runs over somebody and just gives the ball to the referee every time. He's never celebrates, never does anything. He looks really cute to give the ball.
For you old timers, think John Riggins.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
He's fired when the video ends.
Defensively,
look him up. Google him.
My last video, I definitely will. Defensively, AJ, Carolina, there's been a few question marks in terms of stopping the run and forcing turnovers. And Carolina did that today. What did State have? 34 rushing yards on the day. Carolina forced, 4 turnovers, I believe. So defense answered some of those questions that have been kind of lingering over them for a majority of the season so far.
Well, and the turnovers, when they came, were really big. Don Chapman, State should have scored a touchdown on Finley's first series. Wide open in the end zone, the tight end drops the ball, goes off his fingertips, and Chapman wasn't even in the picture, and he flies in there and gets the pick. You love that he didn't give up on the play. He stayed with it. He got himself a pick. No points for State. That was really big. How about Chaz? Gets a sack and forces a fumble. He also had an interception. I think Chaz was back today. I don't know where he went the last 2 weeks. That guy kind of took a little detour, and he found his way back on course today and was outstanding. Gemmel was outstanding. We saw the linebackers run and play sideline to sideline today the way that people thought we would see it every week. Tyrone Hopper, by the way, is playing some good football.
He is.
When Carolina's defense makes plays and when they've been able to force some turnovers, when they've had turnovers so far this season, Hopper's often in pursuit of the quarterback. He was when Morrison had the pick last week at FSU, and then he was today. In fact, he tipped the ball that Chaz ended up intercepting. So you got to love the way they gave up a lot of passing yards, but in this kind of a game, and given what the margin was, Jay Bateman's going to live with that. What is important is the other narrative was they can't stop the run. Now, they had trouble with running quarterbacks the last 2 weeks, and they didn't have to really deal with that today. But State's got a couple good running backs. State's got a good offensive line. A couple of those dudes may end up playing in the NFL. 1.9 yards a rush for the Wolfpack today. So Mac Brown's been asking for turnovers all year. He got that, 4. And the last couple of weeks, they've been begging this group to stop the run.
Yeah.
They got that today, too. So when you put that up against what the offense did, that's how you get a 48-21 win.
You talk about Mac Brown, what he's been asking for from his team, and another thing that he asked for was kind of putting a complete game together. I think we finally saw that today. I mean, Grayson Atkins did miss that field goal on special teams, but no really special teams mistakes. Offense plays a really good game. Defense plays really well for a majority of it. I mean, Carolina finally, for once this year, has kind of put a complete 4 quarters together, and like I said earlier in the video, I think it really reflects on the scoreboard today.
Yeah, they'll have a list of stuff, like I said, but that's okay because this is game number 5. Now, Mac did say after the game that one game doesn't become another, essentially.
No, yeah.
But I think what is really important to take from this is that they knew, they had a little bit of a reality slap last week in a lot of ways. And it's okay to say that because when you're down 31-7 FSU, while we're doing this right now, I think you're getting blown out at Louisville.
I had a
feeling
feeling
already have. I haven't seen the final.
I had a feeling that might
Bottom line is, you got to learn. To become a really, really good program, you've got to go through some adversity. You've got to deal with some speed bumps and hurdles and all that. I could use a bunch of cliches, and they all apply. So what you really want to see as the program continues to grow. Remember, this is only the 18th game of Mac Brown Part 2. How do they handle what happened last week? And it's not just today, it was all week long. So I asked Chaz after the game, how much of the growth occurred during the week, and at what point during the week did you see, okay, we're on a better page than we were a week ago? He said Tuesday and Wednesday of practice. So you learn, okay, last week happened, can't change that, a lot of bad stuff happened, but these guys fixed some of that and they learned a lot from it. Doesn't mean they're going to be even better next week, but they're seeing in front of them, they're seeing the evidence. These are like big lab experiments. As they saw with this experiment, okay, well, when you show up that way and you perform that way, you're going to get blown out, or they weren't blown out in the end, but they were embarrassed for a while against FSU. But when you trim some of that fat, and you got the right mindset, and everybody's on the same page, you get 48-21 over a pretty good NC State team. And it was 48-14. I think Carolina was certainly 27 points better than the Wolfpack today. They grew. And that's what this is all about. I know a lot of people expected when they saw number 5, holy crap, this team can make the CFP. Wouldn't worry about that. This is just game number 18 of the Mac Brown Part 2 era. Allow this thing to continue to grow and figure itself out. You saw today clear evidence that this staff and these kids know how to figure this stuff out. They know how to fix, kick through the curb, and march forward. And that's what today was all about to me.
Yeah, a lot of positives to take away for your North Carolina today. 48-21 victory over NC State here behind us on the Kenan Stadium field. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones, as always. Andrew Jones, excuse me. Let me enunciate that
He doesn't know who John Riggins is. And he doesn't even know what the hell my last name is.
Hey, I haven't got my 3rd strike yet, so I'm still good to go, guys. But
one more.
For CharlieIllustrated.com, hope you guys have enjoyed. Be sure to like, be sure to share. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.